On March 11, 2018, a private business jet carrying a group of young women returning from a bachelorette trip suddenly vanished from radar above the mountains of Iran. Moments later, it crashed into the rugged terrain, killing all 11 on board. The aircraft was a modern Bombardier Challenger 604, safe, powerful, and piloted by an experienced crew. So how could a routine flight go so terribly wrong? Well, this is the story of the 2018 Iran Bombardier Challenger crash, a tragedy fueled by a silent failure, misunderstood warnings, and in a chain of human errors. The aircraft was a Bombardier Challenger 604, registered TCTRB and operated by Basaran Holding, a Turkish conglomerate, I don't know that word. On board were 8 passengers, all women returning from a luxury bachelorette party in the UAE. Leading the group was Mina Basaran, a 28-year-old heiress to the company. The plane departed Sharjah, UAE at 13:11 local time, bound for Istanbul, Turkey. Weather was reported clear, visibility was good. In the cockpit were 2 female pilots, a highly experienced captain with over 10,000 flight hours, and a capable first officer. But less than an hour after takeoff, as the aircraft climbed to cruising altitude, something began to go wrong. As the jet passed through flight level 340, or 34,000 feet, the crew received a warning, EFISCOMP-MOND, indicating a mismatch between flight primary. Specifically, the airspeed indicators were giving different readings. One was showing an overspeed. The aircraft was going too fast, while the other was decreasing. The situation is known as unreliable airspeed, and it's dangerous because pilots depend on accurate airspeed to fly safely, especially at high altitude. Instead of stabilizing and cross-checking the instruments, the captain reduced engine power. But that was the wrong move. The plane was not overspeeding, it was slowing down. Within moments, the stick shaker activated, followed by a stick pusher, a system that forces the nose to prevent a stall. The aircraft was stalling, losing lift, and the pilots were now fighting their own aircraft. At this point, the cockpit descended into chaos. First officer tried to initiate the unreliable airspeed checklist, a standard procedure for this kind of situation, but she was repeatedly interrupted by the captain, who seemed convinced the aircraft was overspeeding. The plane entered a dangerous pitch oscillation, nose up, then down, violently rocking back and forth. In the moment, the aircraft's engine flamed out, starved of air due to the extreme nose-up altitude. The Challenger 604 became a glider, falling from the sky. At 15:30 local time, the aircraft crashed into the Zagros Mountains near the town of Sharhikot, Iran. All 11 people on board were killed on impact. The Iranian Civil Aviation Organization launched a full investigation. What they found was both tragic and avoidable. The pitot tubes, the small sensors on the aircraft used to measure speed, may have been contaminated, possibly by dust while parked in the UAE. Pitot covers have not been used during the layover, but the main issue was how the crew responded. The captain misinterpreted the airspeed data and did not follow proper procedure for unreliable airspeed. The stick shaker, stick pusher, and warnings were ignored or misunderstood. The co-pilot tried to intervene, but the cockpit dynamics and communication broke down. The report ultimately blamed the crash on insufficient training and handling instrument failure and poor crew resource management. This crash was not just a story of mechanical failure, it was a human story. The pilots were skilled, the aircraft was reliable, but training, communication, and decision-making failed in a critical moment. After the crash, aviation experts renewed the calls for better CRM training and realistic situations of instrument failures, especially in high-altitude jet operations. For many, this tragedy isn't a painful reminder that technology alone can't prevent a disaster. It's how people respond in the cockpit that determines the outcome. The 2018 Iran Challenger crash claimed 11 lives, including a young woman just days away from her wedding. May their memory serve as a reminder of how fragile flight can be, and how vital it is to respect every warning, every procedure, and every lesson learned from aviation's past. If you found this story important, consider subscribing for more aviation breakdowns and case studies. Fly safe.